How do you go from being a WWE superstar to eating chips on camera? Former WWE superstar Ryback had quite a promising career, going from membership into the Nexus into what some saw as the next coming of Goldberg. However, Ryback has become the butt of the jokes on the internet and seems like nothing more than a bitter not-so-old man. What happened to this once promising superstar, and has he turned off fans for any chance of a return? Ryan Reeves' quest to become a WWE superstar was not so easy. Nonetheless, he impressed the WWE enough to get a developmental contract after his performance in Season 4 of Tough Enough. In 2005, Reeves went to work in WWE's developmental territories, eventually gaining national exposure in 2010 when he participated in the first season of NXT. Reeves got the opportunity of a lifetime when he became involved in the 2010's Nexus storyline. Reeves played Skip Sheffield, one of the many disgruntled contestants from the WWE's NXT program led by the contest winner Wade Barrett, who declared war on the main roster. The WWE Universe embraced this high-profile feud, and many saw it as one of the company's most engaging storyline in years. Reeves had to bow out of the Nexus angle early on after suffering a broken ankle. This wasn't Reeves' first injury in WWE, nor would it be his last. Indeed, injuries had a habit of popping up during his matches, and as we'll see, they occasionally happened to his opponents. Reeves eventually returned to the main roster, this time with a new name. In April 2012, Reeves debuted as Ryback, a powerhouse wrestler with a formidable offense. As a babyface, Ryback worked against some of WWE's top stars including CM Punk and The Shield, a sign that WWE saw him as a future top guy. A subsequent heel turn led to a feud with John Cena and a later alliance with manager Paul Heyman. Things seemed to be going well for the intimidating-looking strongman. While the WWE appeared to see big things for the big guy, the WWE Universe seemed split on Ryback, particularly fans who viewed Ryback as a poor man's version of Bill Goldberg. Ryback's use of the phrase "feed me more" was a good catchphrase for some fans, but others saw it as too similar to Goldberg's iconic "Who's next?". Over time, some fans began chanting Goldberg and "You can't wrestle." Professional wrestling has seen wrestlers with limited movesets and sometimes limited overall talent get over through a strong push and/or a positive reaction from fans. Wrestlers such as Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior, and Bill Goldberg capitalized on their look and charisma to become megastars despite in-ring limitations. Ryback began his main roster run when Vince McMahon was always looking for the next big man to take the WWE to new heights. Judging from the WWE's initial push of Ryback, it seems like this was the plan. Those plans may have changed not due to Ryback's skills, but what some saw as a habit of hurting opponents. More than one top WWE superstar accused Ryback of being sloppy in the ring to the point that he injured opponents. While it's never been confirmed, Ryback, who began challenging CM Punk for the WWE Championship, saw his push diminish, with rumors CM Punk complained to WWE management about what he allegedly felt was Ryback's inability to protect his opponents. In 2014, PW Insider's Mike Johnson reported on Dolph Ziggler suffering a concussion during a match against Ryback. The Dolph Ziggler concussion last night was due to a stiff clothesline from Ryback during a match that will air on this week's Superstars. There's a lot of heat on Ryback as there's been continued complaints about being reckless in the ring. One of the reasons his pushes have been curtailed over the last year. The early reports we're getting is that Ziggler's concussion is not a mild one. WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry discussed Ryback's time in WWE. A lot of his peers looked at him as difficult. A lot of his peers looked at him as dangerous. And yes, we talk about it on this show all the time. CM Punk argued that Ryback was more than sloppy. After Punk left the WWE, he appeared on Colt Cabana's podcast, blasting Ryback for his shortcomings and going so far as to accuse the big guy of intentionally breaking his ribs during a match and taking 20 years off his career. Punk also called Ryback a steroid guy. Ryback answered during a podcast interview with the Franchise 107.7. He goes on record saying I broke his ribs on purpose and this and that. That's not true, and if it was, if he says that happened, he never did anything about it, if he's this big bad tough guy, but it never happened. You've got a roster full of WWE talent that knows the real Ryback. Everyone knows the truth, and what he said is not the truth. Later on, Ryback would claim that jealousy fueled Punk's alleged backstage campaign against him. Ryback told Conan and Disco Inferno,
"We got along great. I thought prior to that, I could tell you that him and Cena were the two merch sellers when I came up and I got hot. And I'll never forget, he came over to me when the merch guys were showing me the numbers, and Punk became aware of it, and he goes, holy." he was and from that point forward, I felt like everything kind of changed with everything.
Ryback added that Colt Cabana, who later had a major falling out with Punk, apologized for Punk's appearance on his show. There are WWE superstars who defend Ryback's work, including Chris Jericho, who told Digital Spy, "Ryback was unfairly accused by CM Punk in my opinion of certain things, but I worked with Ryback for months and I loved it." Ryback would complain that the WWE didn't defend him against what he saw as baseless claims. In 2016, Ryback left the WWE. In a 2016 interview with Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso, he recalled a conversation with Vince McMahon that influenced his decision. "In one of our last talks, Vince told me, 'You're the hardest working guy that I have here,'" said Ryback. "I just said, 'Thank you,'" Vince said, "but hard work doesn't always pay off here. I looked at him and I said, well, then I need to go to a world where my hard work will pay off." As fans would see, Ryback's criticism of McMahon would grow to somewhat observers have called a personal vendetta. Ryback's unhappiness with the WWE seems to involve different factors, including his lack of a push as well as his health. In August 2023, Ryback complained, "Reminder of the truth, I walked away from WWE in 2016 on a multi-million-dollar deal to save my health and life. I tried multiple times to express them to something serious was going on with my back and shoulder, and I just had to get out if I was going to figure it out." Many wrestlers have left the WWE over years, often on bad terms. Fans have heard former superstars blast the WWE over various concerns.
Now it's worse because, you got one of the biggest cunts run at it,
But for many fans, Ryback's criticisms have reached unprecedented levels of viciousness and venom. But for some fans, Ryback's WWE career is an afterthought, and he seems to have made a career out of blasting the WWE and its workers. Ryback, who stopped wrestling after 2018, had used social media and his podcast to attack various targets. For example, Ryback tweeted about Mark Henry, "Let's also just effing air it all out there. John Cena didn't want to work with Mark Henry on live events because he believed Mark was the shit. So I stepped up and offered to work with him, which was much harder on me physically, but knew we would get great reactions." As we've seen, CM Punk has been the subject of Ryback's online criticism. While Ryback has deleted tweets, they have been documented. Ryback has commented about Punk's in-ring injuries and difficulties, with some fans feeling Ryback was happy to see Punk fall on tough times. The WWE hasn't escaped Ryback's venom, with the wrestler claiming that WWE never once offered to help with the problems that they were responsible for, and that it suppressed my social media and forced me to spend lots of cash for a trademark they only renewed because it was being awarded to me. In 2020, Ryback tweeted about many medical procedures he'd undergone to correct injuries he alleges he sustained in the ring. "I'm sorry you don't understand anything going on in my life, including 16 stem cell procedures to save my back and shoulder. Last 2 years, I stopped wrestling to care for my dog Sophie with disc disease and 8 surgeries. Be better, you have no clue what you speak about." While Ryback's vitriol seems omnipresent, his attacks on Vince McMahon reached unseen levels, often crossing shameless personal attacks, including one made after McMahon's mother passed away in 2022. Vince McMahon, like most promoters, has an insatiable urge to have control. He had no control watching his mom get beat up as a child, which is a horrendous thing for a kid to witness as their whore mom tries to make ends meet. Vince has failed to evolve. F you, old man. Ryback eventually apologized for his comments about McMahon's mother, but continued blasting Vince. It's so crazy how many people are okay with a psycho billionaire toying with innocent people's lives and whoring out a human circus, but can't stand the actual truth of that man's psychological weaknesses. 48 laws of power. Your clock is ticking, old man. You take nothing with you. Ryback seems to have lost any credibility in criticizing the industry, even if it makes illegitimate criticism such as political gamemanship or abuses of power. While Ryback is always talking about an in-ring return, it's unknown if many fans have any interest in seeing him. When Ryback posted a poll on X about where he should wrestle next, he received an overwhelming number of votes to retire instead. At 42, Ryback could wrestle for several years, but is he healthy enough? More importantly, would a promotion want to hire someone with a questionable in-ring skills and a major chip on his shoulder?